Hi, my name is Ritesh Bawri. I'm an entrepreneur and also the father of two wonderful children. Interestingly, I'm also someone who's almost died 14 times in my life. From being in a near plane crash to being lost in a jungle, I've seen it all. 7 years ago, I experienced what was hopefully my last near-death experience. I just turned 40. I was diabetic, I was hypertensive, had always suffered from asthma, and I had acidity for at least 20 years. Thanks to the intervention of Professor Ravi Rajan, I was able to reverse all these conditions in 90 days. I was hooked. I had to learn more. Since then, I've read thousands of medical journals and hundreds of books. I've certified myself in physiology from the Harvard Medical School and in nutrition from the Tufts Medical School. I just had to understand what was happening in the human body. I've started Breathe Again, a platform dedicated to helping people live a very long and a very healthy life. We've been able to impact thousands of people, reverse lifestyle conditions. You know, the really interesting thing is that even the World Health Organization calls lifestyle diseases potentially reversible. Are we saying that if you just simply made some lifestyle changes, 7 of the top 10 reasons why we're dying could be reversed, or at least the risk could be reduced? To find out more, I put together the Ritesh Bawri Show, where we talk to experts and regular people, understand from them what's going on with their lives, and how all of us can live a very long and a very healthy life. Welcome to the show, the Ritesh Bawri Show. Meeting Mickey Mehta was literally karmic. I was actually doing a book launch at Crossroads, Mumbai. He happened to come literally to do a recce for a friend. He heard a few words I was saying and stayed. We became instant friends, which was very gracious of him because he's someone I've worshipped for the last 10 years. Mickey Mehta is the fitness guru in India because he actually talks about health and wellness in a very different way. He uses a term called LIV, longevity, immunity, and vitality. Those are the 3 pillars that he works on. But from what I've seen, what I've heard, and what I've actually witnessed myself, he literally changes you at a cellular level. If you have not watched him, you must. If you have not heard him, you must. If you actually have not worked with him, you must. Listen to Mickey Mehta on our show, the Ritesh Bawri Show. Someone you must actually watch, listen to, hear from, and definitely on this show, Mr. Mickey Mehta. Hello, Mr. Mehta, and thank you so much for coming to the Ritesh Bawri Show. This is truly an honor. You know, my journey in the world of health and fitness is only about a decade old. And literally from day one, you were the one person that I've been tracking, reading about, listening to, learning from in so many ways. So for me, this is truly an honor to have you sitting in front of me, having this opportunity to talk to you. Our meeting, as you know, was karmic. I was doing this book launch at Crossroads, and you just happened to come there. And you were very kind enough to actually stay and listen. And so from that, this conversation sort of evolved. So thank you so much for coming to the show. I hope to learn a lot from this conversation, as I hope the entire audience does as well. So welcome to the show.
Thank you. And first of all, who's Mr. Mehta?
Okay.
I'm Mickey Mouse.
All right. Okay. We shall call you Mickey.
We never grow old.
Yes.
When we stop growing, we become old.
Yeah.
Keep growing. And tell your audience, keep growing, keep evolving, keep blossoming, keep nurturing.
Thank you for watching. Being connected to each other is easily one of the most powerful emotions a human being can feel. On that note, I have a very small request to make of you. Lots of you watch this channel, but not all of you subscribe to this channel. If you subscribe, you'll get notified of all the new episodes that we're going to be releasing very shortly. We've had some fascinating conversations with some amazing people who have so many powerful lessons to teach. So please do subscribe. If you subscribe to the channel, you will know about all the new episodes we're releasing. So please subscribe now. So, you know, as someone who's been in the health and wellness space for such a long time, and you're literally sort of the legend in this space, you know, one of the really big challenges that I sort of confront all day long is what's this gap? You know, so we all know what we need to do to be healthy, right? Eat less, sleep more, exercise, you know, make friends. I think the science is not, you know, undiscovered. It's kind of known. And yet I find so many people struggling with it. There is such a large gap. What is this gap in your understanding? Why is it that so many people, despite knowing what you need to do, and despite knowing the benefits of good health, are still finding themselves unable to be healthy? What's this gap?
The very definition of gap is space, empty space.
Okay.
And the empty space is the biggest gap.
All right.
People don't know how to be and get empty.
Okay.
Emptying yourself is a way to healing and wholeness.
All right.
Tao says, the philosophy of Tao says, that till you empty the cup,
Yes.
you'll never be able to refill it back.
Correct.
But the empty space doesn't have the quality of emptiness.
Sure.
So emptiness is qualitative wellness.
Sure.
So when we do anuloma viloma, the literal viloma part is the emptying part.
Okay.
So focus on emptying yourself. So when you empty yourself, your doshas get balanced as in Ayurveda. Ayurveda says that we have 3 doshas.
Yeah.
Vata, Pitta, Kapha. Emptying yourself breath-wise, thought-wise,
Okay.
body-wise, clutter-wise, emotions-wise, thoughts-wise, mind-wise. Mindlessness is a key to wellness.
Sure.
Mindfulness is a way to madness.
Sure. Sure.
So mindfulness is the coinage of the Western science and understanding. If your mind is filled with clutter,
Yeah.
there you go. You have
Correct.
the burden. So you have to unburden yourself. And unburdening yourself is a way to good health. Now, what do you unburden yourself with?
Wait. Yeah. Exactly.
You unburden yourself with the 7 sins.
Yeah. Okay.
Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Madha, Maya, Matsara.
Sure.
Pride, anger, lust, envy, gluttony, avarice, sloth.
Sure.
And in Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, the emptying and the unburdening comes from the kleshas.
Sure.
Now, these 7 sins create kale.
Okay.
Kale are nothing but the offshoots and outcome of kleshas.
Okay.
So, kleshas are avidya, ignorance of life.
Okay.
Ignorance brings cancer, ignorance brings cardiac diseases, and ignorance brings every problem of your life.
Sure.
Then, number 2 is asmita. Every kind of identity creates a crisis.
Okay.
Because identity limits you, defines you, and structures you, binds you, bonds you,
Okay.
bounds you.
Okay.
Then raga, attachments, desires, aspirations, and the disappointments coming out of that.
Correct.
Then dvesha. So dvesha is nothing but aversions, dislikes, disgruntled feeling, grudges, resentments. And abhinivesha is the feeling of impermanency and the fear of impermanency and chasing life in circles because or either chasing it or running away from.
Correct.
So these are the things which we need to empty ourselves.
Correct.
And once you're empty, you breathe it all out. So literally in Shavasana and every kind of breathing practice, you don't even just breathe out your fears, phobias. You breathe out all your karmas too.
Okay.
So your karya, your karan, your kirti and your sanskriti, the impressions of your karan and kirti, they also get breathed out.
Sure.
Focus on breathing out and then you become intuitive, insightful, foresightful.
Okay.
Empathy grows, sympathy grows, compassion grows. And these are all ingredients of wholeness, healing, health and wellness.
So if I could sort of maybe bring this to a regular ordinary person who maybe does not fully comprehend what you're saying, where would you start? Like, I think where people get lost is like, okay, I just want to lose 2 kgs of weight and I may be very shallow and I may not understand exactly what it means to be in a great state of health and mind. And my shallow need is just, a little bit here, a little bit there because, I've got 1,000 other problems in my head. I've got work, I've got a career, I've got a reputation, I've got family, I've got kids. So if you were to suggest for someone who literally, consider that person a novice, what's the starting point? Is it breathing? Is it exercise? Is it better eating? Is it something else? Because the gap is so large that for me, as somebody who doesn't understand all of these, like I get so overwhelmed that then I'm not able to start even. So what's the starting point of this maybe? Or is there a starting point?
What's most fundamental to human life? Breath.
Breath, yeah, sure.
So of course, breathing.
Okay.
If you start with breathing practices, breathing regulation, breathing discipline, it is intoxicating.
Okay.
It really gives you a high. And literally your hormones begin to behave.
All right.
Today's science says that literally with breathing alone, by the 4th day, 96th hour, your genetic expressions begin to change and start forming new memory, new behavior because we disrupt the pattern of the distorted old memory, old behavior.
All right. Okay.
By 4th day itself.
Okay.
Then with food and fitness, together simultaneous, if that is brought in, conscious, food with awareness, fitness with awareness, 5 minutes a day to begin with.
Sure.
Automatically, the further cellular behavior of the body begins to change, and your cellular memory of your biology changes the biochemistry.
Okay, got it.
With fitness, with optimal movement therapy, what we call and what we do, your biomechanics will further change the field of your light and urja within,
Okay.
which is so subtle. It is called sukshma.
Okay.
Very subtle. Gross is padarth,
Okay.
the body. Sukshma is the urja, prana. We literally have 5 prana vayus inside us.
Okay.
So one is prana vayu. I'm just for layman's sake.
Yeah.
Prana vayu is the general prana, the general energy which is eternal, jo shasvat hai,
Okay.
jo sanatan hai.
Okay.
General prana that pervades and permeates it all. Then comes Vyan Vayu, which is focused with Hriday, functioning of the heart. Saman Vayu, functioning of the stomach.
Okay.
Apan Vayu, functioning of the elimination of toxins. Udan Vayu is upgradation of your awareness and consciousness. Chaitanya Bhav.
Okay.
Jagruti.
Okay.
Suj, Budh, Bodh, Buddha, Shuddha. Now, only with breathing, movement and food, transformation.
You've
So
done
biochemistry, biomechanics.
Fantastic.
And most important, that gives rise to regulatory principle called the Tao.
Okay.
The regulatory principle of this universe begins to fall in order. The randomness becomes refinedness.
Okay.
The randomness becomes regulatory.
Okay.
It's the randomness which causes disease,
yeah.
degeneration, disintegration, decay, death. Death has no right on life. Death is the culmination of diseases, and diseases are the culmination of your choices.
Right.
So 3 choices: breath, food, fitness.
Excellent.
And you take off.
Excellent.
Then there's lots other
No, of
which
course.
can-
Excellent. No, this is so wonderful. So if it's possible, let me just try and then break down this breathing. So I'll give you my own personal examples. When I started this journey, I was not aware of my breath at all. It was not something I thought about. It was so autonomous for me. That's something I just did. Then I began to read, I began to realize, and I realized that I was breathing, say, 25 times a minute. I was breathing very shallow. I was breathing through my mouth. In fact, when I started exercising, I was taught to breathe through my mouth because they said, listen, breathe in through your mouth, breathe out through your mouth. That's how do you run. And then in this journey, as I started learning, a little bit of understanding. So I think it would be very, very useful for both me and the audience that if I were to then focus on my breathing, what is it that I'm looking to do? Where should I start? What can I do?
When a child is born,
Yeah.
the natural breathing is in through the nose,
Yeah.
and the belly swells. And the nose releases it and the belly drops.
Correct?
So energy becomes wave. It behaves like a wave. So in Japanese, this is called tanden breathing.
Interesting.
And this tanden is the etymology of the word tandem,
Okay.
in tandem,
Right?
from which the chi breathing is born, the ki breathing is born, and our shakti breathing is also this. Urja breathing is, prana breathing is also natural.
Got it.
But the interference of the process and distorted life switches the breathing.
Okay.
Because a child is normal and natural, the anomaly comes in later on with the interference of the human mind.
Right.
So fear makes you breathe sometimes through the mouth because it constricts you, restricts you.
Correct.
Apprehensions, insecurities. So literally, a lot of studies have been done on children culminating into bad health when they were born normal. Fears, phobias of the subconscious trauma. Do you know something? That there is a positive trauma of a natural birth and a negative trauma of a cesarean.
Really?
The natural birthed children are generally very courageous, very brave, and high in immunity.
I see.
Because they birth through the vaginal canal, the mother and the child effort together.
Right.
The bond is established, an emotional connect is established. The cause and the outcome is established of a life force.
Right.
And when the child efforts and comes out, the child laps up the amniotic fluid.
Of course.
Because in the womb, the child is 100%
Secured.
secured,
Yeah.
and it's sterile. Outside, when it comes out and passes through, it laps up the fluid, germs, bacteria, and the child gets immunized. That's the first inoculation happening there.
Oh, wonderful.
But a child birthing out of not so natural deliveries are the children who will always be in the state of flux.
Okay.
The exposure of the child in natural delivery is natural exposure which comes with time and tide.
Right.
But this is taken away in unnatural delivery, and the children don't get the natural exposure of the culmination of pregnancy.
Got it.
There it is, pregnancy is terminated. Here
Yeah.
the pregnancy is culminated.
Right.
So, so that's immunity. And everything else, when the child is asleep, if you see the culture in the West, the child grows up to 2, 3, kept in another room.
Correct, yes.
And the child bedwets.
Yeah.
Gets dreams of fear, phobias, because child subconscious is tender. It picks up every signal, everything happening universally. And in the astral travel, the children cry. They shit, they piss. And there is no rest, recovery and repair. If the mother is next to the child, as the child cries, the mother soothes.
Right.
Here, ears on the heart. And the erratic heartbeat of the child comes back to rhythm again.
Right.
Subconscious fears, phobias, culminated, created, collected, destroys the health, healing and wholeness.
So up till what age should the child then sleep with the mom and dad, if at all?
7.
7. After that, it's okay.
Till 7, the mirror neurons are working and they are very sensitive. They will learn everything subconsciously. When we do Garbha Sanskar with couples, we do a program of Garbha Sanskar with couples. From the time they realize that conception has happened, the parents begin to talk to the children. They begin their refinement process even before they make love. Because we take them through refinement of their behavior, attitude, thought, intent.
Sort of purification of some sense.
If you want to birth the Krishnas, Arjuns of tomorrow, the Mohammeds, Mahadevs and Christ and Krishnas and Buddhas and Zarathustra of tomorrow, you have to go through the process of Garbha Sanskar. Random birth will be picking up random souls knocking at your door, just wanting expression of life again, coming back to fulfill their desires again.
Right. How interesting. But if you don't mind, I wanted to go back to that breathing. So one, you said nostril
Tandem
breathing.
breathing.
Nostril breathing,
so
tandem
breathe
breathing.
in, let your stomach swell. Breathe out, let your stomach drop. Don't push it ever to the limit. You must always be submaximal in food, in exercise. When exercise becomes a punishment, it can never be celebrated.
Agreed.
Let your workout be a celebration and never a punishment. So never get sucked into push culture. More reps, more steps, more calories burnt. Don't be an accountant with yourself. Stop counting, start living.
How lovely. Yeah, of course, absolutely. How lovely. And so then if I could just extend that to also the food and the exercise, you're saying just be moderate, do whatever is sensible.
Food, 48 minutes of chewing. The Jain philosophy says 48 minutes of chewing.
In a world where we're drinking smoothies?
So that the phytonutrients, micronutrients are absorbed. Food when consumed in reverence, Om Sahana Vatu Sahanom Bhunaktu Saviryam Karvavahe. Then the food translates into your karma, into your being, into seeing. So food with reverence and intimacy brings maximum nutrients. Even Amavish can become Amruta.
Wonderful.
Otherwise, even Amruta cannot be absorbed.
Of course, absolutely.
So food ought to be eaten in reverence. So reverence is ekagrata. Absolute oneness with the food.
How wonderful.
And celebration of the food. You get connected to the soil and Mother Earth. When reverence to the food comes, reverence to earth comes.
Automatically,
And reverence to all other tattvas, panchamahabhutas. When food grows in abundance in farms, it takes a distilled water from Mother Earth. It takes pure water from the sky. It experiences sunshine the year round. It is witness to Akasha, movement of planets, movements of stars. So it has intelligence. That food, when eaten with reverence, translates into intelligence and wisdom.
How wonderful.
Rishi Munis became Rishi Munis because of that.
Yeah, of course, absolutely.
And once again, being empty when you eat. Rishi, is Rikta, emptiness. From Rikta is born Rita, the regulatory principle of this universe that we relate to as God, creator, creative phenomena. So Rikta gives birth to Rita, Rita gives birth to Ritu. The seasons and cycles of life. Ritu gives birth to rhythm, rhythm gives birth to Hriday, and if your Hriday is in sync and linked, coherent with the universe, it gives birth to Ritambara Pragya. You align with Ritambara Pragya. This is true healing, health, wholeness. Heal thy, heal them, heal thou. Health is not absence of disease. The etymology of health is epistemological humility.
Of course.
So healthy is all that. It's Latin. Heal thy,
Sure.
heal them,
Sure.
heal thou.
How wonderful. So if I go back to maybe 10 minutes ago, you were talking about emptying the mind in some
Emptying the
sense.
mind.
Yeah. Like,
Breathing.
so what are you saying? Are you saying that the entire education I've had till say I was 25 is perhaps incorrect, needs to be sort of taken away and I start all over again? I'm 40 years old. I've learned whatever I've learned. I've been seduced by whatever I've seen on television, on Instagram, on Twitter, on YouTube. So if I were to start that journey of emptying my mind, what am I really doing? Like in very practical terms, what am I trying to do?
Knowledge is transient
Yeah.
and temporary. Right today becomes wrong the next moment.
Yeah. Okay.
So, empty your mind.
So empty the mind. Okay. So you are saying that
Knowledge and language creates confusion.
Yeah.
Emptiness is a seed and seat of creativity.
Right.
Creative phenomena.
Right.
And demystifying complexities.
Got it.
So emptying is becoming, literally you become feather light.
Right.
When you do Shavasana and you go through the process of Shavasana, letting go of the knots from the body, letting go of the knots of the mind, and letting go of the knots in your emotions. Detangling. So science is calling entanglement today.
Right.
So superconsciousness is entanglement of the cosmic mind.
Right.
Of superconsciousness, oneness of it all. The singularity principle
That they're
that
talking
science
about,
is
yes.
talking about.
Yeah.
And the principles of retrograde causality come to light because of that.
Correct.
So the karma, the cause effect is climatic overthrow out. So the field of quantum emptiness is a field which is literally capability and all potential of change, all creativity. Matter to matter change is a process time, but change at that level is spontaneous remission.
Right. No, wonderful. And maybe my last question on this topic, and then I'd like to change a little bit. So if I were to try to empty my mind, would you make that argument that it makes sense to find someone, maybe a master, maybe a teacher, maybe somebody else? Because clearly I'm not there. Clearly I don't have that understanding. And if I were to start on that journey, would the ideal way be to self-learn? Would it be to read and study and do all of that? Or would it just be easier to find someone who perhaps can lead me the right way, teach me what the basics are, and then perhaps I can get off onto my journey? What would you recommend?
Don't go looking out for gurus.
Okay.
Gurus will find you.
I see. Okay.
Light will find you. Sunlight finds you.
Powerful. Very powerful.
Okay. And sometimes in a contradictory paradoxical philosophy, nobody is mightier by their work and karma.
Right.
They are mightier by purpose. So sun is not as mighty as the diya in the darkness is.
Yes.
So the diya of the darkness should come from within.
Wonderful. How wonderful. I cannot.
Now, this only happens when you cut off your sensory stimuli.
Yeah.
Till the time you are under attack, I'm literally using the word under attack, you are under siege.
Yeah.
From the eyes,
Yeah.
ears, olfactory, audio, visual, tactile,
Yeah.
taste. You have to cut off your senses. And the 80% of the theater created is by the eyes, so shut your eyes.
Shut your eyes. Yeah.
And literally breathe it out, breathe it out, breathe it out. Focus on breathe out because your body knows how to breathe in but doesn't know how to breathe out.
Yeah. Wonderful.
Your body collects it all by not letting it all out all at a go well.
Right.
So in yoga, in yogic traditions, the bandhas were done to breathe out and then do the bandha. So your Mooladhar, your Udyan, your Jalandhar, your Manipura, when you do the bandhas, you create a reservoir of energy after having breathed out the unwanted.
Right.
So Viloma, so Bastrika, so Kapalbhati. The focus is on the out and not on the in.
How interesting.
Because after the out, you open the valve with the out and Urja comes in with the open, in the open valve.
So, we've talked earlier and you mentioned this concept called LIV, L-I-V, longevity, immunity and vitality. Could you just help me understand a little bit about what you mean? Say take longevity, for example. What is this concept of longevity?
Death comes to matter because matter is subjected to decay.
Okay.
Now, why do we subject ourselves to decay? Because we are subjected to the laws of physics, the laws of entropy.
Right.
So the orderliness of the universe breaking into disorderliness as a matter of process of decay, degeneration, disintegration. But human being with his superconsciousness can rise above gods or fall below animals.
Okay.
We, if we choose, cannot be subjected to decay if we want. Time, matter, space, light, motion, mass, causation, effects reduces us. Yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahara, dhyan, dharana, samadhi, that can consolidate our rasa, rakta, mausha, meda, asti, maja, shukra.
Okay.
Which means adipose tissue, rasayan, biochemistry, your nerves, your bones, your muscles, your shukra, your intelligence, your urja, your prana, everything. That is evolution.
Okay.
Anthropology.
Okay.
Krishna, Christ, Muhammad, Mahadev, Zarathustra, Buddha adhered and abided by this.
Okay.
So their unit consciousness was in sync with the universal cosmic consciousness.
All right.
Their circadian rhythm was the rhythmbara pragya. Their circadian rhythm was the rhythm of the universe, the magnetic field. So they became gods and they went out of the sphere and the spectrum of decay, degeneration, disease, death.
Okay.
We can also do that. What stops us? So Shuddhikaran, purifying, cleansing. Nutrition has 3 basic pillars and so has health and healing. Shuddhikaran, purifying, cleansing. First pillar.
Okay.
Regulation, pillar number 2. And fortifying, pillar number 3.
Okay.
This is possible with Vedic science, yoga, naturopathy, Ayurveda.
Okay.
Only yoga, Ayurveda and naturopathy has the capability to make a dead man walk and a dumb man talk.
Okay.
Of course, we with my team, we've literally got many people out of their dead beds and we've got bedridden people back to walking again 3 kilometers every day.
Wonderful.
In 18 months. So the science of renewal system today says that it takes 7 days for your stomach lining to change for new.
Correct.
30 days for your skin to change for new. 90 days for your musculoskeletal structure to change for new. And almost 1 year for your entire being to change for new. So what is disease, disorder and aging? It is the lag increasing between the dying cell and the new cell which is birthing.
Correct.
So breath regulates that.
Right.
Breath eliminates, mitigates that threat.
Okay.
Then comes the fabric of your musculoskeletal structure. So urja and prana through food, we just spoke about. So food supports and gives the scaffolding. And movement makes you vibrant. The resonance comes with optimal movement therapy. And stillness brings once again a limbic resonance and a connect with the entire universe. So then the energy out of Akasha is available to you only in stillness.
Right.
Akasha is not available to you in movement. But in stillness, you can absorb the Akasha out of food. In stillness, you can absorb the Akasha of your movements. Akasha is available in every Panchamahabhuta, but Akasha does not have every Panchamahabhuta. Akasha is the creative space from which everything is born, to which everything returns. It is the shunyam quotient, shunyata.
Right, I've read.
That is where the light is, the light of the darkness. Paradox.
Correct.
So as I said, it should start from within. So although this is a little bouncing and bouncers, but this is the reality of randomness.
Right.
The randomness can be tamed and domesticated by fundamental principles of movement and stillness. Opposites.
Duality, yeah, sure.
Food and fasting. Understood?
Sure.
Darkness and light.
Sure. So if I could jump in, when you read on the internet, you read of people like Brian Johnson, you read of people like David Sinclair, who are looking at, maybe inventing a product that will increase their longevity. Brian Johnson, for example, is now famous for spending $2 million a year on rejuvenating his body and sort of changing everything in his body. You are talking of very basic and ancient...
It's free.
Exactly. Ancient sort of knowledge. But then what is missing? Like, why don't I know what you know? Why don't I understand what you understand? Why can't I do what you do? What's the gap?
Your commitment to the path of evolution.
Okay.
If evolution becomes fundamentally primary to you,
right,
health, healing and wholeness will become your domain of life. If you're struggling and spinning in circles and chasing everything otherwise,
right,
you will keep circling, you will keep spending and you will reach nowhere.
Right.
Wellness is the domain of being centered, not circle, not the circumference. The chase for sensex, the chase for index, every index, and the chase for sex has to stop. And everything is available below your nose.
Right.
When you stop, you'll be able to see everything below your nose.
Right.
Not outside of you. Outside is a sight. Below your nose is a vision.
So essentially you're saying it's maybe a lack of my understanding of maybe where it is I'm trying to go or what is it I'm trying to do. That doesn't allow
Just stop where you are. Nowhere in the same reading contextually is now here.
Of course.
Spelling is the same.
Of course. And so let's say hypothetically I were to adopt this process, then in your understanding this is eternal. I could live for as long as I wanted. I could do what I wanted.
Very much.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, I heard somebody saying breathearians. The true breathearians are even the second last category. The last category are Akashians.
Okay.
They can dig 100 feet grave, go inside, shut them off even from the breath and oxygen.
Okay.
And you can bring them out after 100 years, they'll be alive.
Really?
Akasha, ether. So my thing is access the field of ether and eternity is yours. स्वयं में स्थित, स्वयं में उपस्थित, स्वयं में होना और स्वयं को होने देना. Let yourself be and become the expression.
Right.
Okay. And स्वयं की स्वतंत्रता, individuality, indivisible, duality. So duality is there which cannot be divided. So द्वंद, अखंड द्वंद. जो द्वंद खंडित हो जाए वो मरेगा.
Correct.
जो अखंड रह जाए वो ऊर्जा का धनी होगा, प्राण की उपलब्धि होगी, शाश्वत, इटर्नल. वो सनातन का असीम भक्त हो जाएगा.
Correct. And so then as they say, a rishi can almost take samadhi at will, can desire to sort of say, okay, I want to die now.
A rishi muni understands shashvatta. And from shashvatta, from the eternity, he draws momentary longevity, momentary immunity, momentary vitality. But this momentary is seamless.
Right.
And because it's seamless, there is perpetuity and continuity. This is the acronym of LIV. So, swasth se bane swar. Swar se nikle sur. Sur se bane geet. और स्वास्थ्य का गीत संगत में हो तो स्वास्थ्य बने संगीत.
Of course.
Your health can become music, rhythm, harmonic, symphony, harmony to you.
Of course.
Where the polarities are not in acrimony of collision and conflict, but they complement each other, and at a point of shunyam quotient, they dissolve and give birth to new identity, which is yoga. Ganga comes from here, Yamuna comes from here. So positive, negative, yin, yang, Chandra, Surya, Shiva, Shakti, they meet at a point in Prayagraj.
Sure.
And Saraswati is born. So the Saraswati, the Swayam is born. The Swatantrata is born. The individuality is born. So yoga is the confluence of two energies,
right,
where they dissolve into one ocean of consciousness. Yoga is also your sacred geometry getting synchronized with the universal cosmic geometry,
right,
where creativity happens. So you become a mountain and the attributes of mountain become you.
Right.
You become a tada and the vitality of the tree becomes you. You become a karna pidasan and the vitality, immunity, longevity, the circle of life dissolves into that center.
Right.
You become the chakrasan and the distance between the head and the heart merges and becomes one. The hypotenuse aligns you with the gravity. Then the extremities which are held with the core brings you patience, tolerance. Once you become patience and tolerance and you dissolve in the shunyata, then comes illumination, the light of awareness. With that illumination comes vision, sympathy, empathy, compassion, and you become a leader.
So, when I hear you speaking, it almost makes me feel like I live in darkness. Because clearly I do not...
And we won't black.
Yeah, which is, just unfortunately are the way we've, sort of created this format. But clearly I'm living in darkness. So as someone who is at least acknowledging that I'm living in darkness, how would I make this journey? How would I understand that, yes, okay, these are things that I'd like to do?
Your very admission and submission of darkness is at a level which is different from mine because I too am living in darkness.
Okay.
Because we've walked different gardens, we've been knelt at different graves throughout the lives that we've lived in continuity.
Yeah.
We both have the humility to recognize. The humility to recognition of your current status is an opportunity for light to enter.
I see.
So light has already entered you, and it's entering me too.
Right.
And this light will grow with your self-search. Instead of reading books and following masters of the West, cut them out, they are nonsensical.
Yeah.
Come back to Maharishi Mahesh Yogi. Come back to Osho. Or go to Deepak Chopra, who's accumulated everything from them.
Yeah, correct. Exactly. Yeah.
I've been listening to Tony Robbins.
Yeah.
I've been listening to Bruce Lipton, The Biology of Belief.
Yeah.
I've been listening to Joe Dispenza.
Of course, yeah.
They are in kindergarten yet.
Okay.
When you go and listen to Maharishi Mahesh Yogi.
Right.
When you listen to Sadhguru Sri Sri Ravi Shankar.
Right.
When you listen to Ma Hansaji of
course.
the Yoga
Yeah.
Institute.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
You know, this is the problem. White looks good.
Right, right. No, I think it's also an education issue, unfortunately. Like I can be very candid in my case. I had almost exclusively a Christian education. So my school was Irish Catholic. My college was Jesuit. After that, I went to a public school in the US to do my MBA. And I think English was the primary medium. I'm most fluent in English. अगर मेरे को आप हिंदी में बात करने का है, I started struggling instantly. And that's just unfortunately the outcome of my education. I've always wanted to learn Sanskrit, never got.
So Sanskrit is not a language.
Right.
It is a science of creation, creative phenomena, creative process with the virtue of its vibration.
Right.
Sanskrit language involves the engagement of your polyvagus system.
Okay.
With your anahata, with your hriday, and it engages your epiglottis.
Right, sure. Yeah, of course.
So there is a very good line in Sanskrit which has changed my perception of the view of the world. जात हमारी ब्रह्म है, माता पिता है राम, गृह हमारा शून्य में, अनाहत में विश्राम. Anahat me Vishram goes to Anahat Nad, the sound of the soundless, the light of the darkness, the movement of the stillness, the dynamism of absoluteness.
So, like I said, I'm very happy to acknowledge that at least at this juncture, clearly I'm living in darkness.
We should speak every evening.
Yeah.
I'm happy to speak every evening.
No, that's so kind.
Or you come to Bombay.
I definitely. And even that yoga idea that you gave me, it's something I want to spend there 1 month. Whenever I get a chance, I will go and learn that yoga. That
you must.
Yeah.
So before that, do the online.
Okay.
You will get an insight into the principle of yoga.
Right.
Yoga is not acrobats.
Right.
Yoga is not convolution.
Yeah.
Yoga is detangling from the convolution.
Got it.
Okay. So people who are into exhibition will never experience.
Right. Of course. Of course.
And those who won't experience will not evolve.
Of course. Absolutely. And that is humanity. We are always so caught up by, the show, the appearance, the look.
Optics are important, but I believe in it. It's important.
Yeah.
And when you're in business, optics are important.
Of course.
But never take optics take over.
Yeah. Your personal life. Yeah. No, totally.
The evolutionary experience.
Of course. They're very powerful. So if I could continue on that journey, so we talked about longevity. If I then move to immunity, could you just give us a little understanding of what do you mean?
Immunity is restoration of your homeostasis.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
It is the restoration of your equilibrium and it gives rise to equanimity.
Right.
So people who have absolute equanimity have absolute immunity, and this is abstract.
Yeah.
Try and understand. Somebody who is extremely philanthropic in nature, not just by emptying the purse, but emptying the heart with forgiveness.
Right.
Who doesn't harbor resentments and grudges, will never die of heart failure.
So you're creating a powerful connection between my mind in some sense and the heart? Is that what you're saying?
Coherence.
Yeah, okay.
A coherent living is actually an inherent living which is disturbed the coherence which was born to us congenitally.
Right, of course. So essentially you're saying immunity is homeostasis. It's a concept I understand, I talk about extensively.
Being is becoming,
Yeah.
being becoming is seeing. When being becomes seeing, you are immunized.
Right.
So I'll tell you what. Now, in the worldly scientific view, there is a ladder of evolution for mankind, where fitness is at the bottom of the rung, and you'll be surprised to know.
Okay. Okay.
Fitness is not fundamental.
Okay.
So, fitness gives you strength, stamina,
Yeah.
body fat ratio,
Yeah.
agility,
Yeah.
mobility,
Of course.
endurance. And your fitness is over. Fitness can't give you anything else.
Right.
Then you enter the ladder number 2, health. Once the derivation, the etymology of health is heal thy, heal them, heal thou, from Latin. So health is organic unity of your cellular community to bring you stability and immunity.
Sure. Of course.
So at level 2, when food comes into play, immunity comes to play.
Okay.
But this immunity is also not a state, it's a condition subject to change.
Of course.
So you go to wellness. So in wellness comes your emotional quotient, your psychological being. That can disturb your vitality, immunity, longevity.
Of course.
So there it is being, meditation, being, stability, where health becomes a state and not a condition subject to change.
Got it.
So with stimuli from the environment, it doesn't change.
Correct. You immunize
कीचड़
yourself.
में-
Yeah. You
कीचड़
immunize
में
yourself.
कमल
from-
की
yeah.
भांति.
Yeah. Yeah.
As a lotus in the muck. So focus from lotus to inwards. Then comes well-being, where well-being, you completely are free, open-ended, dynamic, fluid, yet subject to change. So you become the non-change factor.
Right.
So when you come to the non-change factor, your immunity gets cemented with your business of cement.
Very, very interesting. Very interesting. And then, so then the third one, which is vitality. Like, what are your thoughts on vitality?
So, mind you, I am using the word vitality and not strength.
Right.
So, strength training should be thrown out of the window.
Okay.
Training for vitality, urja, shashwat hai.
How would you differentiate between?
Because for strength, you're going for muscle mass and keep growing your weights.
Right.
Progressive resistance training.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And the science of earlier science I had studied was dynamic variable resistance.
Of course.
Through invented machines which made pushing, pulling easier
Correct.
and injuries lesser.
Yeah.
Then there was kinetic chain reaction and response support, and your body can move better. Then the fulcrum effect science came. Then proprioceptor science came.
Correct. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
But everything is debunked before the science of yoga,
Okay.
where you align with gravity.
Okay.
When you align with gravity, gravity doesn't sap you.
Okay.
So when a seed surrenders under the crust of the earth, it surrenders. The earth pushes and neutralizes the gravity and makes it sprout. So the growing of the tree is against the principle of gravity, because the gravity aligns and pushes instead of pulling.
Right.
So in yoga, the gravity pushes you, energy upwards, doesn't sap you. Every other exercise, you are sapped.
I didn't know this. So, like, like
It's
I said,
debilitating. There is no vitality. Exhaustion compromises you. Strength is perishable. Energy is eternal. So when you work towards the energy which is so subtle, so sukshma, that energy knows how to perpetuate. Strength doesn't know how to perpetuate. Strength has no consciousness.
right.
So one julab, one loose motion,
And it's all gone.
all strength, size, everything gone in 3 days.
So this is obviously very contradictory to almost everything you read anywhere on the, in the world of health
Junk
and
it.
wellness. No, yes.
Junk the modern science.
Permit me to learn how to junk it. So I understand what you're saying. So like everyone tells you that strength training is absolutely important. Frankly, if I went somewhere and I was talking on health and wellness, I would definitely say, please do include strength training. Could you elaborate a little bit on that argument about why not strength training, but yoga? Like, would you still get muscle tone? Would you still get...
In yoga,
Yeah.
when you do a Pavan Muktasana, you are pulling.
Okay.
In yoga, when you do a Chakrasana, you are stretching one side, contracting the other side.
Right.
In every asana, which is poetic in nature, postures in poetry, one side is contracted, one side is stretched. The contracted side oozes out toxins, and the squeeze of the muscle gives you the strength of the inner being of not the extremities or just, but the core also. It is an integration of being. Bicep building is not giving you strength of the core.
Right, of course.
Only stomach is not giving the strength of the core. But when you do Pavan Muktasan, when you do Karna Pidasan, when you do the Halasan, when you do the Dhanurasan. So is Dhanur the hero? Is bow the hero or the arrow? The arrow hits the mark.
Right.
Yoga says bow is the hero. Because bow allows you to connect from core to extremities.
Right.
The core helps you build confidence. The extremity never. The core makes you empty your fears, but extremity is dull. So, your core, okay, in Dhanurasan, the core allows you to align, the core gives you trajectory, the core gives you impetus, and the core allows you to strike the bullseye.
Interesting.
Laksha, focus, laser sharp.
So are you saying no strength training, no running, no any of that, just do yoga?
I do 10% of weight training
Okay.
for aesthetics.
Okay.
I'm in showbiz.
Of course, got it.
My arms, forearms, if you
Need to look
really
a certain
see,
way. Yeah.
are, at 61,
Yeah.
I will be 61 on August 29th.
Right.
At 61, please release this on August 29th,
Okay.
on my
of course,
birthday.
Of course. Of course.
At 61, my biology is that of 30.
Okay.
My physiology is also that of 30.
Okay.
My anatomy is also that of 30.
Incredible.
My energy and strength is also that of 30 and athletic.
Incredible.
I wish to remain like this for maybe 150 years.
Right. Right. May God wish that it also happens.
Hello, you become your God.
Yeah.
We become, it's our opportunity. This life is our opportunity. Humans are gods in seed form. If Krishna, Christ, Zarathustra, Buddha, Muhammad, Mahadev could become, why can't you and me?
Correct.
You and me can also become epicenter of purity, embodiment of divinity, and epitome of omniscient, omnipotent, and omnipresence.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Let me just quickly move to this concept of measurement. You talked a little bit about how your physiological age
You
is.
will not believe.
Yeah.
I was just about to say,
Yeah.
we are the immeasurable potential of all
Yes,
that
I know
was,
you-
is, and will be.
I know you were going to say that, so that's why let me ask you this question. So we live in a world that's obsessed with measuring, right? I measure my blood pressure, I measure my pulse rate. After COVID, we all started doing the SpO2, measurement, and so on and so forth, right? Blood sugar, you name it, right? And I'm like most people, obsessed with weight. If my weight goes up 100 grams, I'm almost in depression. What is your view on that? Should you measure? Should you not? Should you have some basic metrics? Should you have a very comprehensive list of metrics? Is it relevant?
So, we count steps, we count reps,
Correct.
we count calories,
Correct.
we count memories,
Yeah.
we count salaries.
Yeah.
But we are missing out on the experience while we do that.
Okay.
Stop being an accountant with your life.
Right.
Stop counting, start living. Measure is a part of impermanent way of life.
Okay.
Because that is also transient. Measure, matru, maya, illusion. Okay? Matter. Matter can be measured. So, when matter was born, time was born. When two matters are born, the distance between the two matters, space was born.
Right.
Every measurement today can become wrong tomorrow.
Sure.
Because the methods of measuring will keep changing.
Evolving, yeah, sure.
Evolving.
Sure.
And measure is subjected to a structured way of life, which is subjected to forces of entropy.
Right.
And forces of entropy are nothing but that which takes you to degeneration, disintegration, disorder, disease, decay, death.
Right.
So I'll reiterate, death has no right on life. Death is the culmination of diseases. Diseases are the culmination of your choices.
Right.
Choose not to measure, to subscribe to infinity, eternity.
Wonderful.
The more you
So-
define, the more you are defined.
Right.
Any definition you give to God takes godliness away from God.
Right.
Even God can't be defined.
Right. Why I'm laughing is actually you're talking to someone who measures roughly
Everything.
about 40 metrics every single day. Every single day. So I measure my weight, I measure my blood pressure, I measure all kinds of things. I'm embarrassed to admit now what all I measure. But I actually measure pretty much everything. But yeah, no, I think your point's very well taken. That it's a bigger life that you're looking for, not, sort of.
Brother, a very strong voice from inside, as we are together both in spontaneity, connected, and there is a great vibrance between us and resonance,
Thank
even
you for that.
consonance.
Thank you for that.
I am telling you, You have the potential of becoming the biggest yogi time has ever known for a simple reason. One who recognizes, one who has the eyes to recognize, and one who has the heart to acknowledge. Will not chase light, will become light.
Right.
You will become light.
Thank you. Really
Certainly.
kind of you.
I'm telling you, this is your day of initiation.
Right.
And I haven't initiated you. It's your quest for what you are doing is initiating you.
That is so kind. That is so kind. Let me move to this concept of stillness. So let me give you a little bit of an introduction. I've been searching for a term, one word that sort of in some sense maybe defines what I want to become. And of course, all my life, the term was happiness. My father would teach me that, our purpose in life is to be happy. And then I read something very interesting, which was that, no, your purpose is not to be happy. Because, for example, if someone's died, I can't be happy. That's not possible. At that moment, I will grieve. So stillness is the term I came up with for myself. Stillness to me means the ability to experience life, whatever it throws at me, good, bad, ugly, doesn't really matter, and still be calm, still be still, still be, okay, and say, yeah, okay, this is what life is giving me this moment. I will take it for what it is. I will imbibe it for what it is. I will accept what I can. I will reject what I don't want, but I'll always be still. I've heard, probably 70, 80 videos of yours, and stillness is a term that comes through in almost all of them. Could you help me understand this better? Like, it's a quest for me to be still. What does it mean when you talk about stillness? What are you talking about?
So first, let me debunk all the happiness coaches of this world.
Okay.
They're speaking nonsense.
Okay.
Let me also debunk all the coaches which help you manifest life.
Yeah. Okay.
If 8 billion people start manifesting,
of course.
There will be creation of chaos.
Yeah, of course.
Creation will become chaos.
Yeah.
Creativity will collapse.
Correct.
So manifestation is put your faith at test. Just allow the manifester to manifest.
Sure. Okay.
Happiness is an occidental coinage.
Okay.
Happiness has an opposite. Anything that has opposite will never survive.
Correct.
Joy has no opposite. Bliss has no opposite. Ananda. Sat, Chit, Ananda. Chitta, Vritti, Nirodha. Stillness. No acceptance, no rejection, no aversion, no attraction. If a Buddha sees somebody getting killed and you will ask who's responsible, he'll say no one, or he will say both. Because Buddha knows that this is as good as an elephant walking and trampling the cockroach.
Yeah, sure.
Both are happening in ignorance.
Yeah.
In Buddha's eyes, if a lady is getting raped, Buddha will see it as both are responsible for it. Buddha will see the murder, both equally participated in it. In some way or the other, maybe not on the first layer of the skin of the onion, but if you go below the layers where the layers disappear, you will see everything coinciding, everything correlating. So there is no acceptance, there is no rejection, there is no insinuation, there is no celebration, there is no remorse, and there is no happiness.
But then is it possible to break free from this bond?
Gradually.
Yeah, okay.
If the journey has started for me a little earlier and for you today, someday it will, only if we don't chase the journey.
Right, okay.
If you hasten up, you'll miss it. Buddha said that if in your meditative elevation, levitation, if you find me in your dreams, kill me, otherwise you will never go beyond me.
Interesting.
Don't follow anybody's footsteps left on the banks of time. Make your own. Otherwise you'll get lost.
Interesting.
And you'll come back to the circle.
Sure. So if I could just still parse a little bit, if you don't mind, I'm keen to learn.
Yeah.
So this notion of stillness, for me, is the ability to experience life and still be okay. Be happy if I need to be sad if I need to be, but be okay. And stillness for me is that ability to be centered, there, unfazed, if you will. Is that what you're also saying? Is that something we can teach? Is that something you can teach?
So the bhavna or the swarup of nir-akar, no shape, no size. Nir-vichar, no thought. Nirvan, no vani. Nirgun, no qualities. That is the domain of stillness. When you self-realize and actualize these things happening to you gradually,
Right.
the stillness is happening. It may start with small fractions of time, taking you to timelessness, spacelessness, singularity,
Right.
entanglement.
Wonderful. No, truly wonderful. This has been really fascinating for me. If we could quickly move on, I know we have also limited time. I know you need to leave. You work with a lot of terminal patients who have maybe very, very serious ailments, perhaps even a condition where
Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, cancer, MS, paralysis,
Right.
cardiac collapse, lung collapse, stomach gone for a toss, post-surgeries, orthopedic convalescence, palliative care. We have 95% of success rate. Of my 43 years of being in wellness industry, last 20 years I've been doing this. Ever since me and my sister, we saved our mother
Right.
from grade 4 cancer, grade 4D, without chemo, without radiation. Ever since, wherever top doctors of the world
Give up.
have said 3 months, 6 months, those patients are living with us, life free of that for 15 years, 14 years, 17 years. We have saved people in COVID, lung collapse on ventilators. We were not allowed in some hospitals I've just told the family to go and do certain things, and just simple hypnosis worked with them. Sammohan Kirti Karya. One patient was whispered in his ears in ventilator when he was sinking, and the doctors had called for everybody right from abroad. Breathe, breathe, consciously breathe. Children are outside, wife is outside. You have to come back. You have to breathe. Breathe. The subconscious obeys command when the conscious mind is not interfering. And the graph went up. Machine started beeping. Nurses ran helter-skelter. They called the doctor. Within a day, he was out of ICU.
Really?
And within 5 days out of hospital. Later on, died of cardiac arrest after a few years. I mean, just few months ago.
So obviously I've heard about this story about your mother. Is this something you're comfortable talking about a little bit? Like what happened?
very
What did you
happy.
do?
My mother had the poorest of lifestyle.
Okay.
And one day we realized that there is cancer of grade 4.
Okay.
Unimaginable, unbelievable pain.
Okay.
Unmanageable. No painkiller of that generation 18 years back, 19 years back could comfort her. We took her to a doctor. Doctor said PET scan, positron, emission, tomography. Those days was not so evolved.
Right.
But they said, boss, it's bad. But how worse it spreaded, we can't tell, but it's bad.
Right, okay.
The tumor was humongous.
Okay.
So I had a choice of doctors. So my Parsi General Hospital told me, Kayomas Kapadia, Kayomas Balsara. So I just shut my eyes, a little premeditated on my name, and Kayomas Kapadia came to my mind.
Okay.
Went to him.
Okay.
He said that you want to do it because she might even pass off on the table. I'll say, we'll do it.
Right, of course.
Me and my sister, we both work into healing space.
Yeah.
So we got, in 2 hours, the surgeon came out, Kayomas Kapadia, and he said, look, if I were to cut it all out, that is affected. Even the margins. Gallbladder, duodenum, 80% of the stomach, 6 out of 8 lymph nodes, pancreas. She may not survive. I said, do it. 6 hours later, he came out. He's saying, I've cleaned her up, stitched her up. Let's see whether she comes out. She came out.
Okay.
My mother had a will to live 108 even before the cancer occurred to her. I kept her, as opposed to doctors' instructions that go out in 4 days, I kept her in the hospital environment for 4 months because it had huge gardens, huge trees, lots of sunlight. Wheeling her out morning, evening, giving her physiotherapy there, making her pain-free, independent, and then took her to a new home with a garden in the backyard.
How lovely.
And I continued physiotherapy, herbs. Started with herbs. I started with Gaumatar,
Okay.
Govardhan Ark.
Okay.
Today, Baba Ramdev is publishing research journals with clinical evidence and trials and accepted by international medical community. Everything that he does in Patanjali, Acharya Balakrishna, they've established the biggest journal and encyclopedia of herbs today.
Okay.
So we administered all that. We started doing a lot of prayers and Agnihotra at home. I read through the science of Maharishi Mahesh Yogi and started. Unbelievable science. I do Agnihotra with all my patients who are gone cases. And we take down the astrological charts, we take down the numerical charts, just to understand, not to change anything.
Sure.
And understand the karmic debt.
Okay.
The culmination of the karmic debt is the creation of the disease. Diseases are seeded in the subconscious, culmination happens in the physicality.
Got it.
Manifestation is the physicality, the known. The unknown is the culmination, seeding. So then we made her go through every herb under the sun possible. And then I learned the science. Then I worked with the Ayurveda doctors. And now I have many Ayurveda doctors working with me. Many homeopaths, many naturopaths, neurophysiotherapists in my team. And we do the same work. When doctors fail, they call us. And we work with the doctor, with the medical science. We don't tell the patient, don't take chemo.
Correct.
We say, you do that. We will do what we can.
Right.
But anyway, if it is a given up story, allow us a free hand.
To do whatever, exactly.
And whenever doctors and families have given us latitude, we've given them life.
How powerful. And so obviously she's fine now. She's doing well.
Hello. 2 years back, she had a fall. She broke her hip and the opposite wrist. I went to my doctor, Bansha. He's a magician, orthopedic surgeon. He's saying that, yeah, we'll fix her. She's already 86 or 87 or whatever. But she may not walk. I said, you do it. We'll make her walk. We got the surgery done at 88, hip replacement, wrist. Tough. We brought her, and as opposed to 4 days keeping her in hospital, I kept her at the hospital for 45 days. Fully independent, morning, evening physiotherapy, everything, optimism, everything. We brought her home, morning, evening physiotherapy, morning, evening yoga, taking her out to sunshine. We have gardens in my mummy's home. It's a forest area at Kambala Hill.
Okay.
And she is walking today.
Incredible.
That video is available with you.
I've seen.
You can share it with the audience.
I will.
I had 10 years back, exactly 10 years back, an autistic child came to me. I've been working with cerebral palsy, autism, learning disabilities, and all such, ADHD, all such children since 15 plus years. 10 years back, a child came to me, very meek, very short, hardly speak, hardly comprehend, and low confidence, poor coordination. Today he sings, dances, moves.
Incredible.
He's grown tall, he's grown broad, he's become strong. We are watching his sexual tendencies also. So I watch sexual tendencies of such children. We make them aware, we make them conscious, we educate them, we make them evolve in their behavior with it, we make them independent, we advise on masturbation methods. Then we also give them sexual release with professionally organized, structured, planned clinical way.
Interesting.
With sex workers, certified. So I've done that for 2 children outside of India. And there you go. So now that child is a chef. He sings, he dances, he gives speeches. He is more normal than us. He is more sharper than us. So for people who are born with less, has the potential to become more.
Of course.
Because each one of us has the immeasurable potential of all that was, is, and will be.
Right.
Measuring will define you. Knowing that you are immeasurable will refine you.
Wonderful. So is there a condition that cannot be solved? Just simply cannot?
Every condition can be reversed because only a man has the capability of walking backwards.
So literally in your entire experience, there's never been a case that you felt like was impossible, could not be done.
Never.
I just
5% where the family, half of the family was divided.
Kare nahi kare.
And the patient didn't have will to live. We get the whole family to sing, dance, celebrate every day, bring grandchildren, parents, friends, calling people, video calling, everyday celebration. And I tell parents we work with, don't buy them the best medicine of the world. Feed them the best food with your own hands. Don't get them the appointments with best doctors of the world. Give them all your time and appointment. And that will become the biggest medicine of magic and miracle. And the landscape of the health will change. They will want to live, repurpose their lives with some service to mankind. make them creative, make them a part of a collaborative, creative process, and see what happens. Literally, you can add as many years and as much quality to any human's life.
Incredible. You said 2-3 very interesting things. If you permit, I want to sort of pull that out, or tease that out a little bit. So one is, what I found very interesting is you're not contradictory. So a lot of people are like, either it's naturopathy and Ayurveda, or it is, modern science. But you're saying it's collaboration. Let them do what they can do.
Co-creation.
Yeah, exactly. That I found very, very powerful.
And literally, use everything available in the spectrum.
And why not?
The good, the bad, the ugly, they all are creative.
Right.
Because negativity is creative, darkness is creative. Earlier, pictures were only born out of darkness.
Yeah, of course.
Seeding happens in darkness. Birth, creation happens in darkness.
Right.
In secrecy of nature.
Yeah.
Every human can be the co-creator of his own destiny. We have 2 legs to walk towards it, 2 hands to make it, a mind to perceive it, a heart to believe it, and a spirit to achieve it. If change is constant, consciously create and become the choreographer of your own change. Nobody can take it away under your nose. No Yamraj can take away your life without your permission. No stealth and no surreptitious way of nature can take away your life unless you are living in ignorance.
Which brings me to the next question, which is about will. You talked a lot about will, and will being an integral part of, my desire to live, my desire to, sort of heal. What is it? Like, what are we talking about? How can I have that will? Why would I not have that will to live?
So,
what are you talking about?
So, metaphysics said this earlier. Quantum mechanics says this now. That quantum energy, not available to natural eye, is available in the quantum of thoughts and intention also.
Sure.
Because thoughts they culminate into manifestation. So, put attention to the field, you energize it. Put intention into it, you transform it.
Okay.
So the intention is the carrier of your manifestative biomechanics of behavior.
Okay.
Of nature.
Okay.
The power of your will, because energy is sensitive and conscious, your intention gives it shape.
Sure.
You can shape your reality with your thought, attitude, and followed with your karma, karya, kirti. So you and only you can be the Harry Potter of your own life.
So what would stop me? Is it my fear? Is it my anxiety? Is it my lack
of
knowledge?
Your analytical mind.
Okay.
Your mind with limitations, mind which knows how to define, mind which puts labels, mind which puts structure, mind which cannot jump out of the box. And preconceived notions. Your belief can change your biology.
Of course, absolutely.
Bruce Lipton
of course,
has
absolutely.
validated that.
Yeah.
Dr. Mickey Mehta says, your faith can change your hormonology. Your breath can change your psychology and emotions.
Incredible. So, this is the second time you said the same thing to me. I am by nature analytical. I think it's just my upbringing.
Stop analyzing, start synthesizing.
Yeah, you said this before.
So let's take a rose. Okay, and the rose is fragrant. So the beauty comes to not just to the sum total. The sum total is always more than the total.
Sure.
Take all the parts of rose, put it aside, the fragrance is lost. The beauty is lost, the fragileness is lost. But when you put it together, when you synthesize it, the beauty comes to the whole, never to the parts.
Sure.
Analyzing is getting lost in the parts and missing the essence of whole. Healing happens to the wholeness, not to the parts.
Sure.
Healing happens in synchronicity, synchronization, orchestration, symphony. Never treating a organ.
Interesting.
Like the proton machine does, targeting nuclear radiation.
Yeah.
It's doing a great job.
Yeah.
I've worked with patients who go to Chennai doing that too. We allow every aspect of medical science, may it be modern, may it be ancient wisdom traditions. I work with certain Marma philosophy and Marma practitioners. They do some phenomenal work. Absolute inability of body to move can be translated into absolute ability of the body to move. All you need is activation.
Okay.
So we have acupuncturists also, acupressurists also in our team. And my team is mobile. We go to cities, countries. I work across borders.
Of course.
More in India, in many cities we have a handful of teams, but we also, our teams are mobile.
No, wonderful. I'd be amiss if I didn't talk a little bit about chakras. Again, something you've talked about a lot. in all the videos that I've seen, you somehow, and even in this conversation today, I'm not an expert of any kind. So I do recognize these terms, but help me understand, what are you talking about? What are chakras? What do they mean?
Okay.
How do I harness them?
I am also not a champion of chakras.
Okay.
I'm still a student and learning.
Okay.
Kirlian photography, early 19th century, a Russian scientist, discovered that every living being has a heat signature.
Okay.
Obviously, you are evaporating some heat from your skin.
Of course, yes, given.
So he created a lens of photography which could catch and capture the color and the figure. So the heat signature is nothing but expression of energy.
Okay.
So there are such expressions of energy which take frog leaps or quantum leaps in your body, which help you sublimate and make your energy subliminal.
Okay.
And levitate and elevate. So when the focus of life moves from fight, fornicate, fight, and food, this energy gets illuminated very gradually.
Okay.
Otherwise, you're getting sapped and sucked by life, moving in circles. So
Right.
when you get centered, these energy centers, which are available in the Sukshma Nadi, Ida, Pingla, and there is one center Nadi with Sukshma invisible to naked eyes, which connects your spine to your brain on top, Sahasrara. Helps increase perceptions, perspectives, higher realities, deeper realities, extra dimensions, ESP, extra sensory perceptions.
Sure.
To some, it happens accidentally. If you meet with an accident, suddenly you will be able to hear many things which is going on somewhere but not going on there. So these chakras can be honed in stillness, silence, and stimuli of various sensory perceptions.
Okay.
Light, sunlight, air, fresh air, quality of air, gravity, bowing to the earth, hugging trees, the purity, hugging purity,
Of course.
rolling in the grass, subscribing to infinity and eternity. Only then it occurs to you. These chakras can more come alive in Brahma Murata.
Okay.
When 97 minutes before the sunrise and the twilight, the Sandhyakal, the morning and evening, where your circadian rhythm comes to a point of switch, and for a certain period of time, both your nostrils are working. Your health can go to the highest order when you breathe consciously with both your nostrils then,
Okay.
which is why yogis become invincible.
Right.
Now, how it happens? When the birds get an intimation of the switch of the vegetation and the greenery from emanating carbon dioxide to emanating oxygen again close to sunrise.
Right.
And it starts as a gradual process, seamless process. And with the first oxygen spelt out, the birds begin to chirp. Trees come alive. Blossoming happens. And the twilight sunshine comes. In that Murata also your chakras become very sensitive to light, urja, energy, oj, tej, prana, and activation happens. So chakra enlightenment, activation also comes from the space of optimism and faith, the absoluteness. And there is a very old adage which I have just a little bit modified. Extraordinary are those who know that there is something within them which is superior to circumstance. If you subscribe to this understanding, in faith and optimism, your chakras are on. Then yoga and Ayurveda and naturopathy with all the kriyas, like Shambhavi Mudra, Sadgurus, very powerful. Sudarshan Kriya of Sri Sri Ravi Shankar, very powerful. Baba Ramdev's Kapal Bhati, the way he's taken
It's
it to the world,
incredible.
absolutely powerful. B.K. Iyengarji's Hatha Yoga, Ma Hansaji's Sushma Vyayam, all these are roots to your chakra enlightenment.
Okay.
Ayurveda in particular, I say that the kriyas of Ayurveda like Rakta Mokshan, cleansing, they put leech is on your body and they draw blood. Or the cut and the blood comes out. Then Abhyangama, the kind of a rub which creates bioelectricity and draws out toxins from the body and sharpens your nervous system and faculties, increases your BMR, relaxes your heart. Then number 3, Shirodhara.
Yeah, of course.
The pinpointed drip of the oil right on the pineal
Pineal gland.
gland, which is responsible for your sleep-wake cycle, circadian rhythm switch, regulation. Very powerful to activate your chakras. Basti. Basti is not enema. Basti is giving you super vital tonics also. Sometimes milk, sometimes ghee, sometimes herbs, sometimes soups. Because the bioavailability becomes 95% as opposed to 60% in the stomach. And cellular absorption of your phytonutrients, micronutrients. Then Vaman and Virechan. Vaman, the ulti, the induced vomit is so powerful to open up your mind and also do ulti of your emotions and your hurt pain in your mind.
Of course.
I am telling you, brother, all these kriyas are mind-blowing and enlivening and enlightening and finally illuminating in nature. I can bring science to every such kriya and validate it. Baba Ramdev and Acharya Balakrishna are doing phenomenal work in the last 3 years. Of the 2% scientist work being published last year, they were a part of it.
Incredible.
In the International Medical Journal. And they are making some mind-boggling discoveries. And they are also now making Ayurveda medicines which are called enteric in nature, which will only melt once they get into the right area and not get destroyed in the first
Digestion,
area.
sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Wonderful.
Shushruta was the first one to do surgery.
Of course, yeah.
The saline and reefs were given, with reef. Coconut water was given as saline for electrolytes.
Of course.
Okay, then there is one Jeevan Rakshak Ghol is nothing but electrolytes to be made at home with organic jaggery, salt, lemon, and there you go. That's your natural electrolyte. But because laboratory electrol is micronized a lot, the absorption is very
Faster,
high.
sure.
So it's a lifesaver.
Wonderful. Thank you for watching. Being connected to each other is easily one of the most powerful emotions a human being can feel. On that note, I have a very small request to make of you. Lots of you watch this channel, but not all of you subscribe to this channel. If you subscribe, you'll get notified of all the new episodes that we're going to be releasing very shortly. We've had some fascinating conversations with some amazing people who have so many powerful lessons to teach. So please do subscribe. If you subscribe to the channel, you will know about all the new episodes we're releasing. So please subscribe now. So to be mindful of time, 2 more questions. First is obviously, what are your 10 commandments? And then at the end,
The 10 commandments has to be my last rendition.
Yeah, okay.
Because my signature lines will
No,
come
I
back.
just want to ask, how can people find you? Where can they find you? How can they reach you? How can they meet you?
Yeah.
I was karmic enough. I had good karma, so I ran into you. But if someone wanted
I had
actually...
good karma, so I
No,
ran
sir,
into
you're
you.
very nice.
I had come to promote a book of my friend.
You told me.
Okay, so people can find me, Dr. Mickey Mehta, Insta, Facebook.
Sure.
Chehra dekh lo yaar. Aisa haseen
But you
chehra.
respond to Instagram messages?
I respond to every message on my WhatsApp also.
All right, wonderful. Okay.
I'm available, I'm approachable, and I am here rooted.
Okay.
And I'm here to serve mankind. We look after the municipal sweepers' wellness. I'm working with a Divyash Foundation, which is by Amruta Fadnavis, wife of Mr. Devendra Fadnavis. She's doing some phenomenal work. I'm the founder member there. So we work with BMC sweepers. We work with ladies police constables. We work with jail inmates. We work with rural areas. We do some fantabulous work. I work with the police academy. I train them.
Of course, yeah.
I worked with the Army, Navy, Air Force also. And most importantly, I work, with the Ritesh Bawri, Ministry of External Affairs. And God has blessed me. So I do a lot of work with the underprivileged. Lot of work across India.
Sure.
Okay, across India. And I do work with the privileged also.
Sure.
Okay. So I always believe that whatever Sufis say, take it from here, give it down here. You are the transient point, you are the custodian, you are not the owner of anything.
Right.
And I like to learn everything from within as well. As Jalauddin Rumi once said, that I've been living on the lip of insanity. asking questions, knocking at the door opens, and I've been knocking from inside. Also, a very good poem, William Blake's, comes to my mind, that we are led to believe a lie when we see from and not through the eyes, for we are born in the night to be perished in the night, while our souls rest in the beams of light. Which means we are so disconnected from our souls completely. And when people say, how did you achieve so much? So I just say, heights by great men reached and kept were not attained in sudden flights. For they, while their companions slept, were toiling upwards in the night.
Incredible.
So if you want to practice stillness, then you will, subscribe to what Nietzsche, German Ubermensch, who's written. He says that we assume that we think, but it's more often that we are thought. In stillness, the thoughts will come to you.
What I found really incredible is you took the name of almost every person, but didn't take the name of a single celebrity. And
Khalil Gibran.
There must not be a single celebrity you've not worked with.
Khalil Gibran talks about the diametrically opposite polarities. So somebody asked him that, in love, there are two different people coming together. How can they stay together? He says, saying, just like a temple when it's built, there are two pillars at diametrically opposite ends holding the temple of worship. And love is nothing but sex becoming love, love becoming prayer, prayer becoming worship. When it becomes worship, two become one.
Wonderful. Okay, let me ask you, only because of time, what are your 10 commandments?
My 10 commandments are, let wellness be the religion number 1. Because religions divide, wellness unites. Number 2, join Dr. Mickey Mehta's wellness revolution for human evolution, not for weight loss, please. Number 3, for strong biceps, uplift the poor. Number 4, for strong shoulders, take the responsibilities of the underprivileged. Number 5, for strong legs, be rooted in humility to be better fruited in humanity. Number 6, sleep every night with a wish to heal yourself and wake up every morning with a promise to heal the world. And then you can get energized, naturalized, optimized, maximized, internalized, eternalized, revolutionized, evolutionized, mesmerized, hypnotized, revitalized, humanized, immunized, all negativity neutralized. With Ritesh Bawri and Mickey Mehta, get Mickey-mized.
Incredible. Wonderful. This has been such an incredible learning with you. I can't thank you enough. This has been...
I can't thank the supreme divine nature enough for making me meet you.
No, you've been... this is, like I said, it was karmic to meet you. There was almost no... I would not imagine that I could reach you on Instagram, for example. It's not something I would have believed. But no, thank you. Really, really appreciate your coming. Really appreciate you making the time. I think the viewers will really benefit from this conversation.
I pray that it does reach every nook and corner of this world so that people celebrate life with healing, wholeness, and health.
Incredible. Thank you so much.
Thank you.